So, oh goodness, let me fix this over here, get this over here, get back to this thing. All right, we got ourselves a live stream going. Marcy, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm alive. How are you doing, Jason?
I'm struggling a little bit. I have I'm on the road, so I'm like trying desperately to figure out how to do a live stream without any of the gear. So like usually I have like my extra monitor and I've got my good microphone and like lighting and all the things that I need and probably the most important thing a dependable uh, internet connection. And so now I'm on like Wi-Fi at a hotel with like a single monitor, and I'm kind of panicking that this is going to go very poorly. But I think we're going to be able to pull this off.
You're
Hey, it
back
looks like we
down to
got a Chris.
the land of the mere mortals with a single computer monitor.
I know. It's amazing how fast I became jaded on like, oh yeah, of course I have two monitors. Like, how could you ever possibly survive without them?
Oh, the horror.
Um, all right, so it looks like we got a Chris Demars in the chat. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Let's see. All right, so today we were going to learn about some accessibility, and you were going to kind of do like automated testing for accessibility, right? Like we were going to try to make this something that you don't have to think about super hard.
Yeah, I think we should probably talk about some automated accessibility testing and even some manual accessibility testing because automated can really only get you so far. But it would be really cool to show how you could integrate something like Axe and Cypress into a Gatsby site. I just sent you a branch, Jason, from my website. And Cypress comes with every Gatsby site. So that's why I chose that as a tool. It's an end-to-end testing framework that has its own API. I've done a lot with Selenium WebDriver in the past that's sort of similar, but I love the Cypress API because they have way better docs. It's sort of like
Hmm.
it's like a fresh take on end-to-end testing. So the
Yeah.
thing you're looking at right now is a branch I started at the Axe Hackathon to integrate Axe into my site. I got it running. I sort of just like chucked it into a branch and didn't ever ship it or anything because there
Okay.
were some accessibility results it was returning to the site that I didn't have time to address that day. And this is sort of the challenge, I think, with some of these automated tests is sometimes they don't apply and you don't want to fail a build over it. So it's kind of, I don't know, you got to play around with it a little bit, which is why I say
So
having manual testing experience is also really helpful. So we could look at that.
yeah. So am I looking at like only part of a commit, or is this really all it takes?
That is really all it takes. So I think there should be a package JSON change to that. That maybe didn't get in. Let me see.
Well, I also only looked at the one commit, so maybe there's more to it. Um,
I think it was like
let's see.
stashed on my machine, and I did it
Got
a
the
while
Cypress
ago. So we've got a
open.
site open. We've got Cypress. I mean, we can recreate it just by doing an npm install cypress-axe. That's
Yeah,
a
let's
tool.
do. So maybe what we can do that would be good is wait, what am I doing here? I want to do a learn the JSON thing. So we're going to go in here, and let's do a new directory for accessibility testing, and we'll move into that. And let's do Gatsby new. And should we just grab like a starter? Do you think, like the default
Sure.
starter? Okay.
Yeah, we could do
Um,
that. I don't think, yeah,
okay.
we can introduce accessibility problems if we don't find any. So that's always
Yeah.
spicy.
Let, let's actually do that. Let's go through and maybe like create some common like do some common bad practices, and then watch this help us. And also, everybody just cross your fingers because I'm about to do an npm install on hotel Wi-Fi.
Talk about spicy. See how this goes. We have a
See, oh, so
question
Grizz in the
about
chat. Yeah. We're talking about accessibility testing today, Oso Grizz.
Nice. I see how you're superpowering with the chat window open. Last time we streamed, I was like, how is he doing that? And it's just that you have the window open, nothing magical.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like trying to, you know, you've got like, if you were to look at my screen right now, the Twitch window is zoomed way in on my monitor, so I've got like a whole bunch of other stuff up so I can see what's going on with like the chat and, you know, various other controls that I got to keep running to make sure that this thing actually stays on. But yeah, so let's see here. We got Sharp is installing, and I mean, we at least got the pieces downloaded, so that's promising.
Yeah, hotel Wi-Fi. I guess it's building now. It already downloaded.
Yeah, we're moving faster than I expected, honestly. Like I've had these downloads hang on my home Wi-Fi, which is always embarrassing because I'm like, wait, didn't I get the fiber? Like, I let you drill a hole in my house for that. Shouldn't this be fast?
I just watched a live stream from you and John Otander and Joel Hooks on the Egghead. It's like an Egghead live stream on themes, and you were talking about your fiber, and Joel was like saying that Comcast or whoever, he's like, oh, don't call me unless you have faster internet.
Yeah.
Evergreen content, Joel. Good job.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what the date was on that recording, but it's definitely still relevant.
Yeah, still absolutely applicable.
I mean, that said, there will be some updates to themes that will change as that is less experimental, but yeah, pretty fun to hear you all talk about it when I'm learning about themes.
Yeah, the theme stuff is really fun. I'm super excited to do more with that. We're going to try to actually convert the docs on gatsby-cypress.org over to use a theme, because one of our big ideas, you know, capital B, capital I, is that we want to get internationalization working in the docs. But one of the main problems that you run into with that is like, how do we do that in a community managed site, and especially when like we're not going to be managing the translations. And so one idea that we're kicking around right now is being able to put a Gatsby theme that is all of the kind of structural stuff for the like docs, like the code, and then have a individual sites that just have the content for the docs in whatever language. So we'll be able to do like an es.gatsby.js.org that has all of the docs. Like the theme will be installed, or the code will just come from the theme, and then the content will just live on there. So it'll be this really nice separation where we can do upstream updates and make sure that we're not having to update, you know, all what will hopefully be, how many languages are spoken in the world?
Lots.
Hundreds. We want all of those to have their own Gatsby website that'll teach people to use Gatsby in that language. So yeah, we'll come.
I like it.
Yeah. We'll see.
Man, this is taking its sweet time.
It is really taking its sweet time. And I know that there are no captions. I have no idea how to live caption live video. If anybody knows, please let me know, and I will do my best to make that happen, because I honestly just like, I can't type fast enough to live caption what's being said.
Oh yeah, I don't think anyone's expecting you to do that. I am going to go look, see what Suze has talked about, because I know she has kind of either written about this topic or had to answer this question herself. She uploads captions. She uploads them to her YouTube channel. I mean, you can do that after the fact. It's the live setup. Not so sure about that. I did just hire a captioner yesterday for Accessibility Camp Seattle. That'll be an in-person event where we have captioning. But for live streaming, yeah, if anyone has a recommendation, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, it looks like Polly Thomas in the chat is looking for solutions, but hasn't found one they like yet.
Well, do tell. We would love to hear. I wonder if this install is stalled and we should start it over.
I can't.
It's been a while.
I know. I'm always like Maybe
It
okay.
could be
So maybe what
worse
we can
if you
do.
kill it.
I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna delete this this folder, and I'm going to create it again. And we're going to use the Hello World starter, and then we're going to create our own problems because I don't want to
Got
spend the
it.
whole stream waiting for things to install. So let's do a Gatsby new, and I'm going to use the Gatsby starter Hello World. And this doesn't have to install Sharp, so it should be much faster.
Oh, I didn't realize you could use like just the repo or the org and repo name instead of the whole Git URL when you do Gatsby new.
So I don't know if we've ever documented that. I actually don't know if like anybody but me uses that. But I really like the shorthand. So okay, so that should be working. So let's check that real quick, make sure that we're getting what we expect.
Let's see what happens. I'm gonna start seeing the Gatsby like pre-bootstrap CLI output in my dreams because I see it all day, every day now.
Yeah, I mean, so fun thing, we're going to be uh, revamping the CLI. There's a project right now to make it more more friendly, like because right now if you get an error, it gets like buried in here somewhere, and we want that
Gets
to
very
be
angry.
yeah, and a lot of this is not super useful. Like this doesn't need to stay on the screen, so we're thinking we might want to like clean this up a little bit, make it a little easier to figure out what's happening. Okay, but so we've got a working site. So let me shut that down. Let's open
Let's see
it.
how we can mess it up. Because I bet it doesn't have any accessibility problems right now, but we're gonna add some.
Well, right now it's got nothing. So
Yeah.
all
I
right,
guess that's kind of
so
an accessibility. That's like a usability problem for everyone.
yeah, it's nothing doing. So let's see if we can do some terrible things in here. I'm going to do the couple that I know, and then you can tell me the ones that are maybe more insidious. Like the one that I know for sure is a bad one is like if I were to do, let's say, this.
Oh,
um,
span with an on click. That is a
which is
pretty
I think that's everybody's
good
favorite.
quote good one in the most evil of ways.
All right, so let's do that, and let's make sure that I can actually write code.
And we had a comment from Lannon BR saying that Eric Guzman, who's a streamer on Twitch, wrote an extension that uses the Chrome speech to text to create closed captions for Twitch. So we'll have to look into
Cool.
that after this. Oh, going right now. See what happens.
I was just gonna pop in and
See
look
if
at
we can
it.
get it
So this
going.
is kind of a cool. I'm not gonna try to get it going. There's no way. But
It's like
oh
that's
yeah,
ambitious.
this is super cool. I think I actually saw this video once, and I didn't realize that this is something that anybody could install. But yeah, so I will let me post this in the chat. Oh, it's already posted in the chat.
Yep.
So okay, so we have our terrible span that does a thing.
Yeah.
We know that's a bad idea. What else can we do that's bad? Like
Really common ones are images without alt text. So if you have an image and it's got like and even in Gatsby, it could be pretty bad if the image source URLs that get output, if they're, cached, kind of created dynamically, those, hey, there's that guy. Though the image source URL would be written aloud if you don't have an alt attribute. And I think that's a throwback to publishing days when, you organized your images and they all had, sensible file names. So maybe the source would have been better than nothing. But these days, URLs are cached and it's like a jumble of random characters being read aloud, and it doesn't really help anyone. So another common one would be form inputs without labels. So yeah, we've got an image there now with a style. If you add some form inputs, and a really common pattern I see a lot is people will write a form text input and then they'll have a span with text next to it. And that doesn't really help a screen reader user because they're not that text in the span and the input aren't associated. Or yeah, no span at all. So we got an input and name text. And
yeah, so we got
let's see what else. The other most common, and it's sadly really, really common, is color contrast. So if you made all that text light gray or something to be subtle and designery, that would be a very common issue.
Let's go with, how about here? Oof. Okay. This is looking like a great website. I should probably publish this right now.
You should be a web developer. Okay, so yeah, we've got a headline. We've got a form input with some text next to it. We've got a clickable span, really light gray text. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things that we could improve here without having to add too much more. We had a suggestion from Chris to add a ton of divs. So divs on their own are not actually accessibility problems. They're grouping elements, so they just get ignored. They just don't really help you. There's more semantic elements that you could use. But without anything, I think we'll have, like with one div wrapping it with like accessibility checkers, including axe, which we're going to add. There's enough here that it'll give us some things to fix without having to add too much more. Oh yeah, an emoji. We could add emoji. So I know
threw
there's
an
one
emoji
item
into the.
Yeah, there's a crying. It's funny to me that emoji is called joy, but it's like the tears of laughter emoji that I use all the time. So there's some stuff here that we can. Sorry, I was going to say there's some stuff that we could automate, and there's some stuff that we're going to want to write our own automated tests in Cypress.
Okay. So yeah, so then actually this would be kind of a, do we like Ian Markine brought up a button that's an anchor tag. So if I were to like do something like this and do like on click handle form submit, is this what we're talking about? Like, do people actually do this?
Oh, they might. I think what happens pretty commonly. Oh, thanks for the coffee delivery. What a guy. I think people like it with the CSS and styling. You can kind of get away with, or you think you can get away with swapping a button for a link or a link for a button. Nice of Chris. He just linked an article that I wrote on this that talks about what links are good for navigation, and then buttons are more either used in forms or used to toggle something in the user interface, so not take you to another page. So yeah, having a link here, it's like with JavaScript, everything's a hammer, but it's not necessarily the most semantic element for the job. So yeah, that would be a common one. The link versus button thing is hard though, because we can't really automate. It's like the heuristics for whether it's the right element or not is like sometimes sort of subjective. So that one is really common. It doesn't always present an accessibility barrier. It's more like, I don't know. That's what I go into in that article. It's a huge can of worms. So yeah, try and use the most semantic element for the job. Basically, is the TLDR on that one.
Okay, so we have.
Oh, go ahead.
We've built ourselves a doozy here. So if we kind of take this and look at it, we may not know, like, you know, if I'm just, you know, somebody who's been given a task, like I got to get something out the door. This looks exactly like the design that I was delivered by the marketing team, and you know, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. Like I nailed the spec, right? So how can we make sure that I'm not inadvertently doing terrible things to people who our keyboard users or otherwise like using the web differently than I might.
Yeah, well, I want to walk you through setting up some tools that I use. So if you right click on that name text next to the form input, do right click and inspect element. I want to see if like what you have installed in the Chrome developer tools. So there we can inspect our code just like normal. And right in the right panel next to event listeners, there's a little double caret arrow thing right below where your mouse is. Go to that accessibility tab. Really happy to see that's in there by default. So you're on a span right now in the DOM inspector. If you click on the input right below it, we'll see if that has a label exposed using this accessibility tree inspector. So it's telling us in Chrome DevTools what the computed properties are for this input, and it's missing a name. So you can see there's multiple ways you could have added a name. The label element, ARIA label, placeholder and title are kind of lower down the list of priorities for accessible naming. Because that's what in the accessibility world, this is called an accessible name. So we can see here that there's no text associated with this input. So this is what I would qualify as like a manual testing step. And this accessibility inspector is so awesome for that. So what we could do is change that that span to a label element. But I just wanted to show you this tool so you could have multiple ways to debug this.
Can I ask you a question? Because this seems a little counterintuitive to me, because it's saying it doesn't have a name, but we set a name.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So the ID and name attributes are just arbitrary values, and they're not referencing anything. So the ID on this input, it's looking for an element with an ID of name, and there isn't one. So it's not going to match the text inside of a DOM element. So it's looking for, in this case, we would need the span element would change to a label element, and then we can put label in React. It would be HTML4, which ends up as the for attribute, and that'll bind those two together. But without that, it's kind of looking for something right now and not finding anything.
Okay.
So, and there's multiple ways you can label this. So that's why I'm picking the most straightforward and most semantic one, which is using the label element.
Mm-hmm. And now, do we want to start fixing this now, or did we want to install the tools?
I think we could probably install some tools so we can see this error in more than one way. So this is the Chrome DevTools that if you have Chrome now, everyone has, which is so awesome. We did not have this when I started.
And just to clarify on how we got here. So if we go out to we go to the elements, and then I click on, by default, you're going to be looking at your style. So if I click on an element, and then I go to this this caret, by default, the accessibility stuff seems to be down in here. But then if I click here, then we can see what these computed properties are.
Yeah, you can see the whole accessibility tree, which is where that says group, paragraph, generic container. That's like a sort of parallel structure to the DOM, the accessibility tree, and it strips out things like scripts, stuff in the head that wouldn't be useful to a screen reader. But that is a structure that assistive technology uses. So that's where things like ARIA roles, states, and properties really start to become important. So this tool can help you debug, oh, did I use some totally wrong ARIA that I didn't get correct, or did I forget something like a label? So this is a really great way to visualize that stuff that's kind of hidden under the hood otherwise. So one other tool I want to show you in here before we go to an automatic accessibility checker. And there is a comment from Chris saying he refers to it as the accessibility object model. That's actually a new API that's being proposed that would allow you to get and set some of these accessibility properties with JavaScript, but it's not really a thing yet. The accessibility tree is what we're talking about. Okay, so for color contrast, this is a new tool that I'm in love with. We might need to go turn it on. So in the
I think I already did, actually.
Oh, you did. Oh, there's like a new
I
hover
think
version
so.
too. Oh, it's gotten even better now. Okay, so yeah, if you click on the little color
Wait, how do I do
swatch, oh,
this?
that's changing the color space. There we go. So you clicked on the color in the kind of styles panel of Chrome DevTools, and it pops up the color picker. And there is this line now that says contrast ratio, and then it has these numbers, and it says 2.30, and it's got a little symbol. If you click on that little caret and expand it, that shows you the ratio of the foreground and background colors according to the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. And there's AA and AAA. AA is sort of the generally agreed upon standard that most of us are aiming for, and AAA is like, if you really want to serve more people with higher contrast, you can try and meet AAA. And so this tool will show you where your colors are falling with this ratio, and the ratio lines.
Oh, look at that.
You can like drag the color below the line, and it will then, once it goes above 4.5 to 1 or 7 to 1 in AAA speak, you can actually see your colors, how they fit onto the color wheel with color contrast. And like, that is so awesome, especially if you're like really close and you want to keep it in the same tone. Yeah, so that's my favorite color contrast tool, because it's just so awesome, and you can like pick colors.
But it really does make that so much easier.
Tool,
yeah, because I've struggled with this where like I'll have my color scheme will be really good on a light background, but it won't have enough contrast on a dark background. But then I'm like, well, crap, I don't want to change my brand color. So then I'm trying to like guess how far do I need to like tweak this to the light side before it meets the contrast requirements. And I'm just kind of like blindly flailing in the dark. So being able to kind of take this, so if my brand color is, let's say, somewhere in the purple range, being able to say like, okay, so here's my color. This really works really well on dark, but like, oh, if I just nudge it down just right there, perfect. Now we're good for AA. So that's really, really cool.
It is super cool. And sometimes, it might be the case where if you can just tweak it with this tool in dev, you might not have to go back to the design team and have them shut you down when you're like, this doesn't meet contrast ratios. You can just kind of fudge it, and then they might never know. And you can just, I mean, I'm not recommending that you work that way, but, sometimes
you heard it here first. Marcy Sutton recommends you go rogue.
I've done it. It's better to ask for what is it? Ask for forgiveness than permission.
Forgiveness, not permission.
Like yeah, just do it. Just fix it. They always know. This looks off. Well, you can always fall back on WCAG, the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, and accessibility requirements. So if someone really wanted to fight you on that, you can send them my way. One thing I want to check is if you did enable this color contrast picker, I want to show people where to find that. So if you kind of go out of there, go to the DevTools settings. Let's see if we can find that. It's under settings in that little context menu for the DevTools. And then I think it's on this page. There's like a contrast ratio. It used to be a setting you had to turn on. I don't know if it still is, but I just wanted to make sure. They might have just turned it on for everyone now that it's more stable. I think it might have just
don't
now. The stuff like it used to be that you had to like go turn on a flag, and then you would come in here and you would hit the shift key 6 times, and then these like magic things would appear. I think it's been around and like finessed enough that it's just there. Yeah, I think it's there.
That was
this is where you
Sia
can find
Karamalagos. Sia Karamalagos just showed me this the other day. The magic menu in Chrome. So I'm gonna hit Shift 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, where did it go? Wait, what do I have to be to get that to work? There's like a special. It's like a special thing that you have to go to, and you get.
It might depend if there's things being exposed in that version of Chrome. I think it's not always. They don't always use that.
Oh. Okay. Well, my super cool trick is not going to be super cool. But yeah, so it looks like it is enabled by default.
Woo.
But yeah, so good news. So definitely go and start using that, because that is way more fun than trying to guess what hex values will be good enough for
Yeah, I
contrast.
mean, we're gonna go look at some automated test results, and they'll give you, it'll tell you your colors don't meet the ratio, depending on what it finds. But this is how you could then go and fix that, and then change your code, and then run it again. So it's like these manual tools are really important to help you in the automated testing process, because yeah, I mean, you got to be able to visualize what colors actually look okay and meet ratios. So
Well, this is
yeah,
kind of
that's why
cool too. I just realized that you can like use this little dropper and like pick a different color and see if it meets the background, because it'll change out the background,
oh
which that's pretty
yeah.
slick. I
Yeah,
did
you
not
can
know
change the
that. So
background. You can sample colors from an image. Like if you wanted to sample the blue in your jacket, you could just sample a color from there. I mean, that's been there for a while, but you can see how that color meets or doesn't meet color contrast.
mhm.
See, I
Yeah,
love this
that's
tool
very
because
cool.
this color is the most common accessibility problem on the web. So we needed like an awesome tool like this.
Okay, so that is really, really useful. If I refresh the page, we lose all of our cool fixes. We're back to this masterpiece. So what should we do next? Do you want to? Are there other DevTools things, or do you want to look at the testing?
Well, we looked at the accessibility tree inspector and the computed properties and the color. I think we should probably go install Cypress and spend some time writing tests.
Okay,
Because like you might fix something in your code and then without anything to like enforce that things stay that way in your code or your
mm-hmm.
tests, somebody might change it and then all your work will go down the drain. Oh,
And I
here's
just
some
noticed.
interesting stuff.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah,
Gatsby
so
is helping us with the JSX accessibility plugin.
it is. Yeah. So the JSX A11Y plugin for ESLint, it finds some common issues. So it's finding the image without the alt, the let's see, not having an href. Yeah. So
It's because I
sometimes
use the.
yeah. The
Oh, and
challenge
it
with
even caught
automated
the
tools.
emoji.
Yep. So it gives you some good things to look for and try to fix like in the moment. But I want to show you another tool in case maybe you're working with Markdown, or like if there's some reason why the ESLint plugin wouldn't be finding everything. So I think Gatsby ships with Cypress. We don't need to, or no, do we need to go install it?
I
I
think we
think
need
it's
to
just
install it.
really, I think it's just really well supported, doesn't necessarily ship.
Okay, so I'll add Cypress. Do I need to add anything else?
I think, well, let me go look real quick. When I installed it, I think there's a gatsby-cypress that like makes that integration easier. There's also, let's see, yeah, I'm gonna see what we recommend on the end-to-end testing. So it says Cypress. I don't know what the gatsby-cypress, if you even need that necessarily. It does recommend getting a package called Start Server and Test. Maybe
Start.
that's probably what Gatsby
Start
Cypress
server.
is telling you. Start.
Should we?
Yes.
Sorry, we've got like exactly enough delay that I keep talking on top of you, so I apologize for that.
That's okay. Okay, so let me go look at this Gatsby Cypress. There's more than one way to do this, and it all works. It's just, what do we want to do today? Yeah, I think Gatsby Cypress will pull down that Start Server and Test package for you, so we can call it.
Cool. Yeah,
Let's just do that.
Yeah, well, if the core team took the time to put this together, we're We're probably better off just doing what they said.
I'm going to make a note to go update the doc because it doesn't mention Gatsby-Cypress. We had a comment from Polly Thomas saying, didn't know you're supposed to pronounce the 11 in A11Y. I think, yeah, I say A11Y. Actually, I pronounce the whole word accessibility if I can, because not everyone knows what it is. Especially if I'm trying to advocate to people who don't know it.
I've heard it pronounced every way, like A11Y, ally, accessibility. Like I think it's kind of one of those words like that you see written down and you don't hear out loud very often. So everybody comes up with their own version of it in their head.
Yeah, I say A11Y. I've heard A11Y. Yeah, like I18N. You're probably not going to talk about I18N verbally. You're going to say internationalization, I bet. So accessibility is kind of the same way.
It is weird that we don't have the header and sidebar. A comment just came in, and I'm pretty sure that I have no idea why that's happening. I'm going to assume that probably because of the smaller viewport or something.
Oh, no, I get that too. Wow, that is odd.
Did we break it? Yeah.
Broke it. I don't even know how that's possible. I was just doing some stuff for the accessibility statement on gatsby.js.org, and I don't even, there's so much missing from this Gatsby-Cypress page. I'm going to go look if my blog post was published yet.
Your accessibility statement's there now, so that's good.
That is there, yeah. Oh, I wonder if it didn't go out yet. I have a new blog post.
Are all the pages broken?
No, they're not. Packages.
Why did we lose the site? Like the Cypress plugin is missing. But like these ones work. I wonder if maybe it got like delisted or something.
Yeah, I don't see it when I search for it.
All right, we must have broken something, but it looks like Lennon is he's going to take care of that for us. So thank you. All right, we've got our everything is installed, and that means we can go through the rest of this. So I need to create a cypress/support/index. So I will create cypress support index.js, and then I'm going to import the Cypress commands.
I love VS Code.
Then we're going to Cypress support. Okay, so we need to expose a Cypress support environment variable to eliminate any code relating to Cypress in the normal browser build. Seems smart. And so in our test script, we just add Cypress support yes, start server and test. Oof, there's a lot going on. All right, let's do it. So we're going to take this plugin, or this command, and we'll go into our package.json, and then we will add this. So we're setting the Cypress support to Y for yes, building the site, starting the server in development mode at localhost 8000, and then Cypress is going to open. So that's good, but we also need to add some stuff. So this is where I'm going to hand it back to you, Marcy, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, well, so you hit save. Let's just run that without any tests and see it open. So we can kind of get an idea of what we're going to do here. Cypress is really cool that it has a interface that you can open. You can also tell it to just run and then be done. So you could use it in CI or kind of a, a test environment where you don't want to like wait for this user interface. Start server and test. So I guess we do need to install that package. See, you're getting to see us audit these docs live as well, which is kind of cool.
All right, so we need to add that. Let's try again.
That. Start server and test. I thought that's what Gatsby-Cypress would have given you. I don't actually know what Gatsby-Cypress is doing. These are good questions.
Okay.
Okay, so it does need a test. So
start script name. URL test script name.
I am going to go pull open a test, and then I can tell you.
That lazy ass logic. What is that? This is great. I don't know who wrote this module, but they just made me smile.
Lazy ass. It's pretty great. Lazy ass logic. Yeah, so it's saying it just didn't find anything. Oh, that must be like a package that they used. All right, so we need to go add some tests. So what I do is put them in the Cypress directory. Mine were in Cypress/integration. I added some integration tests there. You can also add things like plugins. It will take screenshots for you. So
in integration,
we could just do index.js maybe, since that's what we've got so far in our Gatsby site. So in that file, it might be good to put, to actually change that file name to index.spec.js. So it will be the spec file for our index file. There is a definition for TypeScript that you can reference here with // I wonder if I could drive your. We didn't set up the driver to have me type.
I think I can give you. Here, let me give you control.
Ooh. Okay. Let's see if that works. I'm not getting anything.
There you go.
There it goes.
Look, no hands.
Oh. Let me see. Oh, whoa, I'm driving on yours. I'm like trying to open my own. I gotta close.
Oh yeah, this is.
So I can see.
It's gonna get weird.
It's getting weird, everyone. Let me close the chat in Zoom. Okay, now I can see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna type. I'm referencing their TypeScript definition file. So I'm gonna say reference types. I can type. And then in the quotes, I'm going to say Cypress. So it will get these handy definitions from Cypress in TypeScript. So that way it'll give us some autocomplete and things. In our test, I'm going to say context, not content, contest. There's a little bit of a lag, so typing is sort of challenging.
I know, the connection is probably not the best for remote control.
We're making it work. Okay, so I'm writing this context for the homepage. I'm going to give it this function. And then inside of the body of this, I will say before each, I'm going to pass it an empty function. Inside the body of it, I'm going to say, so this is where the Cyprus API comes in. I'll say sci.visit. I'm going to tell it to go to the landing page, which is just / no semicolons, because it's so freeing to not write semicolons anymore. Then I'm going to say, oh wait, we need to go install another tool before I can call what I was just about to call. I am going to write a test here to get us started. So we'll say it has no accessibility violations on load. Be a little more specific. No detectable, could say. Be even more specific. And so now we have at least something for it to give like some shape. I want to install another package. Should I just?
Okay, so let's move back out here.
Oh, okay, cool. Let's do. Did you use Yarn or npm? I forget.
Yarn.
Okay, Yarn add, right? Yarn add. Sort of new to Yarn. And then I'm going to do, make sure I know what this is called. I guess when I worked on this, I just didn't commit what the tool was. I think it's cypress-axe. Yeah. Cypress-axe. And then, oh wait,
And then
it's,
it's
what's the,
dash capital D.
I just caught myself from doing save dev. Okay, so let's add cypress-axe. So we're going to use this tool to integrate the Axe accessibility API for some testing. So it'll make it so that we don't need to write our own color contrast rules and things like
Mm-hmm.
ARIA, some stuff that like I tried writing a tool like that once before I joined the Axe team, and I quickly learned how hard that is. So it's nice to use an API if you can. So now I can go get my code back up here on the side. So now we've got this sci.visit. I need my test back open. I had opened my package.json file. Okay, so sci.visit. Now I'm going to say sci.inject-axe. So the Cypress.
That's a metal command.
Isn't it? It's like, inject it. I'm trying to think if I did anything else here. I did this like a month ago or so, and I think, so we've got our, I'm just going through my setup to see if I needed and to tell it anything about cypress-axe, so that Cypress knows that it exists before we try to call anything. I think it just picks it up in package.json and we don't need to do anything, which is like pretty magical. Like I've never had stuff be that easy. But yeah, I'm not seeing anything in the cypress-axe README, so we're just gonna go for it and see.
Yeah, rock and roll.
Really as easy as we thought. So I'm gonna do sci.check A11Y. Let us spell it correctly. So the cypress-axe gives you these like inject axe and check A11Y methods. So that now it will go to the home page. It'll inject the Axe JavaScript library into the page for you, which is pretty slick. And then it has this sort of custom method that you can call check A11Y, and that will run the default Axe tests on our page. So we'll do, was it under yarn test?
Yeah. So we'll let that roll.
Sometimes you might have unit tests and end-to-end tests, and then like calling Cypress might be like, yarn run test :E2E, or integration or something like that.
I think we got something wrong with this test command. I think we've got a bug in the docs. So let's figure out what it is expecting us to do. I'm also like wondering why we need to. Let's do this. I want to look up the start server and test docs. So we're going to go here.
Yeah, I think there's a couple extra things in there that we don't need. But like we could figure this out.
Start server.
Start server is referencing that npm start command.
And then test. And so we need... Oh, I understand. So what we're missing is we don't actually have a... we don't actually... Like, we need to put this Cypress open into its own thing. And so let's call it sci open. And then up here, we will do sci open. And that, I think, is the right thing.
I don't think that actually changes anything. It's just sort of like pointing to the same content up above. So how I got it to work is I got rid of there's like a Cypress flag at the beginning. I think that part's probably fine. Can you scroll to the left so I can see what that
things are happening
in your package.json file. So npm run build and start server and test. Oh, well, now it's running. So maybe the Cypress install wasn't totally done.
Here's what I think happened. I think that it was only picking up this command because it's positional arguments. So it was like command, argument 1, argument 2, and then argument 3. And it was just getting this last thing as a fourth argument. So by putting it into a separate command, we we made this like the right positional argument. Is what I
okay.
from reading the docs, that's what I understood.
I misspoke then. Well, that's awesome. So now we've got this test in here, and we've got the Cypress UI.
And if I just hit run all specs, we should be okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's only that one, so you can either hit the run all specs, or if you want to run a single one, which is what we have. So it opens up this browser environment. Oh, I guess
inject axe is not a function. So we probably need to. Do we need to like add that into the this, where was it, support thing? So like here we had to.
I didn't think so. Because, oh yeah, we do include the commands. I think I like stashed these files and maybe didn't get them all. So cypress-axe. If we go into our, it says into the specs by using the Cypress support index.js file. So that index.js file, that should just be in a code block. That would have helped me when I glanced at this.
Yeah,
like, when you're
that was not
docs,
super.
Like every code block is like where my eyes go first.
Yeah, like pro tip, this is not a good way to. Okay, yeah. So yeah. Oops.
So if we go to that index.js file, we can go and add this. It's funny because I already considered this and then I glanced and just didn't read far enough.
Okay.
Okay, so we're in
the Cypress support index, and now we've got cypress-axe. So if we run it again, we should, I hope, cannot find module axe core. Okay, so do we need peer dependencies?
We're just, stumbling through this like you do.
So, all right, so we're going to do yarn add axe core. And can you talk a little bit about what axe core is?
Yes, it is an open source JavaScript accessibility testing API. So it depends on a browser context. So you need DOM. You need both like the object structure from the DOM and some DOM API methods for testing things like color contrast. And if you have ARIA that's incorrect, it can, like what they do really well is stay on top of specs and make sure that they're recommending things that are both in specs for ARIA, for HTML, and if things aren't very well supported, like maybe it's in the spec, but nobody supports it, they will bake that into the accessibility rules so that you don't have to write those yourself.
Awesome. Okay, so we're trying again. Failed to load.
Oh, it didn't like that slash that I added in the test. So I think it might need the full local host with the port.
Do we need to set... oh, yeah, we just need to set the full thing. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we can do that. It's funny
because I stumbled through all of this myself, and then I guess I didn't commit. I didn't commit those things. So localhost
8,000.
One thing that might be nice, we don't have to do it right now, but if you make that port more dynamic, like it picks it up.
Make the port more dynamic, meaning?
Yeah, like if you ever have more than one Gatsby site running and it prompts you to like, do you want to open 8001? Like then your test would fail,
Like, so we would want, what is it, process.m. Is that right?
Something like that. Let's try it. I'm not really sure. We could see.
Nope. I think you have to, I don't remember what that is, but yeah, that would be like to do.
That would be like a, if you're really adding this into a production app, you'd probably want to, make the port dynamic.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, now we have something that we can debug. So it's got 3 accessibility violations when it shouldn't have any. So that's what our test was looking for. If you kind of go back through, so it's like going step by step. So if you click on those accessibility errors, it's where it says A11Y error, you can walk through each one of those. And
Okay.
it should give you like on the right side. My browser window's in the way. If you inspect the screen on the right side while you're on one of those steps, like
Okay,
do
so
right
I'm
click inspect. So there's a couple ways you can debug this, and then go to console in the browser. So you're in the browser context that it was running these tests. So
oh,
there's usually some output here that might be helpful to you. And when you were, I think when you were hovering or something in the left side where the test run was, it was saying the same thing that like, hey, there's stuff in your console. And that's because that's where the test, like that's where Axe is running, is in the browser that's under test. So whenever
okay.
you're working with these tools, this is where a lot of your debug information will be. So it's organizing it pretty nicely for us and saying that we don't have an H1 heading. We are missing a main landmark, so we need at least one landmark, which is what
Mm-hmm.
Chris had mentioned earlier with divs. And I was like, well, we only have one div, and it's going to find issues. I knew it was going to find this lack of a landmark.
So, okay, so I'm actually wondering, because it also didn't find any of our other stuff, and I'm thinking that we might want to have it serve the site that we're building, so the actual production site rather than the development site. So I'm going to stop and restart this because I think that those were good errors, but I think we didn't get all of them. So I want to try this one more time,
Yeah,
and
it
make
is
sure
a
that
little
we're.
suspect that the page was blank under test,
That was what I was thinking. Is like
but
I
I
think
don't
it's
know
loading
why.
the development. Well, so the development serves like an app shell. It's a different build. And so
Hmm.
I think if it could be loading a little bit differently. Um, oh, but this is going to break now. Damn it. Okay, hold on.
Yep, there's that
This is why
port
we
thing
need the
again.
port. Okay, fix that port.
Yeah, you might be able to do like, yeah, I feel like there's probably some way to make that dynamic. Man,
Start
Landon
using.
BR is
Oh,
just
wait,
on
wait,
fire
wait,
with
wait,
these
wait.
issues. Thanks, man.
Killing it. Thank you.
Super killer.
And I broke that, so we're going to change that over. And let's quit and restart.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that Gatsby does really well, I mean, we're writing these JavaScript components. It does output static HTML by default when you build. So there is a difference between develop and build, and that when you run build, it will create like static HTML files for you. So like on my
Mm-hmm.
site, that was something I really cared about, and I can turn JavaScript off and still navigate. So that's something
Mm-hmm.
pretty cool for accessibility in Gatsby. Let's see if this is happier now with its render cycle. There we
Here
go.
we
Now
go. 8
we've got
accessibility
content.
things now.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Wow, there was a
All
difference
right.
there. So that might be a
Yeah.
good
So,
recommendation for Gatsby and cypress-axe, is to run it in the Gatsby build environment.
yeah. So it's actually, it looks like they started that way when they wrote this doc because they are doing a build
Mm-hmm.
and then they were just starting it in develop mode, which would have, there's no reason to build if you're going to start it in develop mode. So I think there was just a little bit of a, um, maybe like a halfway through got off track and did a different thing. So yeah, this is the way that you would want to do it. We want to make sure that the Cypress code loads. We get a build of the site. We start the server in serve mode, which is Gatsby serve. Point to the production port, which by default is 9000, and then you would run your Cypress test command, which is Cypress open in this case. So in doing that, we get this, which is going to show us, I don't know what this means, bypass on one node. Ensure each page has at least one mechanism for a user to bypass navigation and jump straight to the content. Oh, okay, so we don't have like a skip to content
Skip
link.
links. You know, it's funny. I've been working on the Gatsby team since end of January, and there's new rules in here that I didn't work on. Yeah, bypass. I think that term is like maybe not as approachable as it could be, because like skip links are what they're
Mm-hmm.
talking about. So, yeah, we could add a skip link. There's some other low hanging fruit that we could add. A skip link component would be really cool. The color contrast
Mm.
issues that it found. We didn't add a lang attribute on the HTML tag. I thought Gatsby did that I guess it wouldn't do it by default necessarily because it doesn't know what language you're in. I
Yeah,
don't remember having
I
to
think
add that on
that's
my site though.
yeah
The label,
yeah.
I mean, it could put, it's sort of like, I don't know, we put English on it. If it's English, we don't always know what language people are going to be using, so be a little too prescriptive to say everybody's site's in English. That wouldn't really be fair.
Yeah, yeah. I think like our most of our starters do. The Hello World starter though by default has literally every option turned off. So we you know, a lot of the
Oh
stuff that would
yeah,
come in by default is going
it's
to
turned
be
off.
missing here.
Interesting.
Um,
Okay, yeah, I forgot we were on the Hello World starter.
Yeah, so we like what we would probably want to do here is, well, let's fix the stuff we can fix without installing things. I'm gonna have to install React Helmet to update the HTML attribute, but we
Hmm.
can fix this image alt problem. We can fix the label.
We could add some landmarks and a heading.
Okay,
So
so
two of those.
let's do the
Oh,
ones that yeah, let's like fix these maybe one at a time here. So we're gonna add a an alt tag. That's an easy one. So let's
yep.
go in here. We're going to just add this alt and say it's me. All right. So upon doing that, if I rerun the test, oh, it's not going to rebuild, so it won't change anything. And I'm not going to restart that server every time we make a change. So we've fixed thing one. Then we can label this. And so this is our form element. It needs a label. And if we look, we can see this. It's the input ID name, so you can still see which thing is in here, which is great.
Like
I've never seen this before, and that was.
I'm sort of thinking back to your package JSON test script, and couldn't we change it to develop mode? Because then you'd get hot reloading, and then you could rerun the test again.
But it didn't seem like it was loading the page.
Oh, I think it might have been because it had npm run build, and then we were serving develop, and it didn't. I don't know. Like there's two different things happening there.
Yeah, the build. Well, the build and the develop would have kind of been like unrelated. Like the build was unnecessary work, but it wouldn't have affected develop.
Okay.
And it kind of looked like Cypress just blocked.
This whole paradigm will test like dynamically rendered, like client rendered stuff. So it should, as long as it develop renders, we should be able to test it.
Let's try it. So yeah, I'll just take
develop instead.
That out. We'll do develop instead. We'll go to 8,000 and let's try it one more time.
Yeah, see if that'll work, because it's a nicer workflow to be able to fix it and not have to go back and build. Like I think it's much easier when you can just like fix it. Woo.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, so
nice to make it ergonomic and easy to fix the stuff, or else people won't do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. We've got running all specs again. And it finds.
Looks like that worked. Oh, I guess the challenge is it's maybe not giving us all of the same accessibility violations. That's interesting to me that it's not finding color. It might be a timing issue. Like this is running too fast, and Axe maybe. I know the color contrast rule is like it's very computationally expensive, so it might just not be like given enough time.
Maybe,
and that
maybe,
would be an issue with cypress-axe itself.
Do we have to inject Axe?
I think you have to visit the page first, because that's what's going to open the browser to the page that we need, and then it's going to inject it.
Okay.
I think that could be a takeaway to like go file an issue on cypress-axe just to make sure, because there shouldn't really be a difference between develop and build.
All right, I'm gonna have it wait for just a minute. Is that one running? Yes. Okay. So here's what we got. I had it wait for half a second. Let me close. I have way too. Oh shit.
Did you close the window? That should be an
Yeah.
easy
All
fix.
right. Sorry. Let's fix that. Okay. So. Oops. All right. So I'm going to restart this,
This is a
and we
family-friendly
will
show,
get.
Jason.
I mean, this is it's behind the curtain. This is real development. Just me swearing at my computer.
I was gonna say that's very accurate with how this process usually goes when you're trying to, add in some new testing. There's usually some expletives thrown when it doesn't do what you expect. I had a lot more with the Selenium WebDriver though. Okay,
Oh
sweet.
yeah. All right. So what I did that solved this is I just had Cypress wait for half a second, and that gives us enough time for the DOM to render through React. And now we should be able to fix things on the fly. So I'm going to let's fix the color contrast, and we want these to be, let's say we'll do like a darker color. All right. So that fixed that. And if I run all my tests, okay, we're down to 6.
Colors.
Then, yeah, colors fixed now. We can read it. Let's fix that label.
And if we needed to pick a color, now we know how using the Chrome color contrast picker.
Mm-hmm. And it's HTML4 in React. And then I set it to the ID value, right? Like these need to match.
Yeah, they do. And so that HTML4 in JSX will turn into the for attribute. They had to give it something unique because for is a reserved word in JavaScript, but it does output to HTML4, like the name implies.
And so if we did this right, this one should disappear when I hit the refresh. Okay, it's gone. Do you want to talk me through what this one is?
The landmarks. Yes. So landmarks are semantic elements and roles that you can use to mark large sections of your website or web application. And the main, like if you have only one landmark, like at this site's, it doesn't have a header or a footer. So we can just wrap almost all of it in a main landmark, and there should only be one. It should be
like
top level.
Here, you mean?
Yeah, you could just change that div to a main element, and now the whole thing is marked as main. And 2 of those accessibility violations should go away with that one landmark.
Ooh, what was the other one?
It was a region. So region is just saying like, hey, you need at least one. And then main is you also, like if you only have one, it should be main. But they're worded slightly differently. It's always nice when you can
understand
2 issues with one change.
And so now we could
this one here. H1. Yeah, change that P tag to an H1. Hello, accessible world. Hello, Rainier McChetterton.
He likes that. He likes the accessible world.
Yeah, he does. He likes hugs.
Okay.
A lot.
So this last one here is one that we're going to have to install a thing for. So let me jump out here. Come on. You doing it? Come on, little friend. No. Uh-oh.
It just doesn't want to let go.
It's like I'm staying.
Maybe if you
staying
just
forever.
Close the Cypress window, that might let it go.
Close that one. All right.
There it goes.
Yeah, it's gotten a little weird here. All right, so now I have to do, without the aid of my eyes, yarn add React helmet. Whoa, and Gatsby plugin React helmet. Did I do it? I
Well, that's
did.
promising.
Cool. So I can type. So then I need to go and we need to create the Gatsby config, which that's the wrong place for it. Let's drag it back out here. And I'm going to do exports default because this is a node file. And we want plugins. Plugins is an array. And I'm going to add Gatsby plugin React helmet. And that's just for server-side rendering. Then in this page, I'm going to import helmet from React helmet. And I can, up at the top here, just add helmet.
Such a great name for this package.
It really is. And that, I believe, should solve the problem. So let's, I'm actually going to quit this and open it again because I don't want to not be able to see what's being typed because I feel like it's gonna haunt me. So let's go here and okay, and then I'm going to do what? I'm going to just start the test. Uh-oh.
Made it very angry.
My Gatsby config failed validation. Oh, my bad. Module.exports because I don't know how CommonJS works. Try that again.
I was impressed that if you were about to get it right on the first try, so it was close. That's the kind of thing I would have to look up. Like the HTML4 doc type. I could never remember that either.
Yeah, I get that stuff. The HTML4 doc type, I don't think I ever got that right.
I had a Lyft driver like a week or two ago that was talking about learning HTML4, and I was like, just skip it. Go to HTML5. You can actually remember the doc type. I was like, I don't know why you're learning HTML4. It's like...
Hey!
Nice. Sweet.
Well, that's cool. So, yeah, we made a mess, and then we cleaned it up.
We did. But there's one accessibility issue in here that Axe couldn't catch, and I'll tell you why. The click me span. So there are no like browser APIs for detecting that. So like, and maybe go to the browser and let's like you could probably inspect it right in Cypress if that window's still open. Go inspect that click me span. I want to see kind of what is on that. Yeah, so it's just a plain span. Like we put an onClick in React, but that when it renders, there's no hook for automated tools to say, oh, there's a click event on the span. Like that's a rule I would have written years ago if I could have. Like if it was like vanilla JavaScript and it had an inline onClick handler in the rendered code, that could be detected. But in React, we don't have that. So what we could do is write our own Cypress test to see, like, can we focus on this button thing? So that's the way I like to write tests for these clickable things. Is like, say you've got a form component and you want to make sure that people aren't doing exactly what we did, putting a click event on it. You can make sure that that control can be focused with the keyboard and then fired with the enter key or the space bar. So we could write a new test here that says it has an accessible button, or it can be accessed with the keyboard, something like that. Yeah, so yeah, I like that. Accessible
or focusable.
Focusable buttons, something like that. I mean, yeah, we could say whatever. We can always go change the test name. So I'm going to pull open the Cyprus API real quick.
Because I can probably move this weight up here.
See what our options are. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. So that way every time it'll wait. Okay, so the Cypress docs. We want to find that that span. So we could probably use, and maybe this would end up being like a utility that you could import into a bunch of tests and run so that it's like reusable. We want to go find, if we could find it by its click, like use the click event as a selector, that would be cool. But as we just saw, that doesn't end up in the rendered HTML. So we probably need like a CSS class or an ID or something on that clickable element so we can find it with Cypress. Because right now it's just a span. And
Is
it won't have
there
that.
is there not a way to find by text?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you probably could. Yeah, where does that live?
Here. Cypress, find by text, contains.
So that might be an assertion. I don't know. Is that finding?
Wait.
Oh, there's get
Get
now.
the DOM element. Contains, and what do we call it? Click me. And then, all right. So what do we want to?
Then we probably want to, let's see. We want to trigger an event, like a keyboard event. I don't know if there's the .type method.
There's a focus one.
Yeah, we have yeah, you could try that. That would be the first thing you could do. And if it complains, this sort of depends on the way the tools are written, whether they will like give us the accessibility that we want. Selenium WebDriver used to do this really well, where if you tried to fire a key event on like a div without tab index or something to make it focusable, it would be like, that's not a focusable element, which is like, that's great from a tool, because that's what you wanted to like prevent against. But I've used some other testing frameworks that just like don't give you that functionality. We should expect that it is, so there's like the focused element. What is that in Cypress? They did add an API for that. Oh, it's just focused. Side up focused. We're sort of depending on the tool to say like whether it'll actually differentiate between focusable elements and not, but we could try it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so how would I do this? So I've got the thing. So am I saying like expect?
Yeah, you could say expect, and then you could add .focused. Or wait, side.focused, I don't think you chain it. So you could say, so right where you're at, after the expect, you could say, I guess we need to focus it first. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud. There's multiple ways you could write this. So you could say side.focused.should instead of the expect syntax. And then we would say have text probably.
Side.focused. Is that a function or a?
That is, yeah, that's a method. So should. I found a good example. So then in the parentheses for should, you would say have.text. I'm hoping that's the thing. I'm looking at one that says have.adder for an attribute. And then, yeah, you'd put the click me.
Is that right? So that should fail if it doesn't focus.
If that works. Sort of, let's see. How intuitive is the Cypress API? Oh,
side.focus can only be called on a valid focusable element.
Nice.
Cool.
Good job, Cypress. That's exactly what we wanted to happen. I wasn't really sure how that was going to go. So what that's
so really
you could write a reusable thing to like go say like, did somebody add this? That might be a cool thing to add to cypress-axe actually. Because then you could have you could make some sort of a reusable test utility or something to make that to make it so you could call that from different components.
Okay. Expected it to have the text click me, but the text was click me. Oh, because it's got the
Oh, the
emoji in there.
emoji.
Okay, so that's fine. We can take this out. Let's maybe just put this in the middle of everything. I'll drop that in here. Okay, so that should... Okay, and it has focusable buttons. Okay, so our tests are passing. So then the last one we want to check is, how can we check emojis? I guess we would need like Unicode ranges. That might be beyond the scope of what we can do here. But we can fix it for now. So we would want a span, and in that span, we need to set some things. And I'm going to need your help because I don't remember what they are.
Yes, you could do role of image, img, to say that this is
IMG.
an so image. We could give it a title attribute, so that way when you hover over it, it would say, you know, what, Tears of Joy or something like that. And that way, this is marked as an image, and we're exposing what it is. The title attribute is on the accessible naming specification that we saw earlier, so that will be exposed for it, and it'll have that bonus tooltip thing, which for some folks, like the emoji, are really small, so having that title attribute sometimes can be useful so they can actually see what it is.
Okay.
And that'll probably get the ESLint plugin to be happier as well.
It looks like the ESLint plugin wants an ARIA label or an ARIA labeled by. But I mean, if we know that the title is going to work, then I think we can probably let it be. Let's
it's a little further down the priority list, but it'll work.
Let's go back here, and I just want to poke at this for a second. So we've got our element. I'm going to click on it. So we've got our span, and then I'm going to go into the accessibility tab, and we've got an image, and it says Tears of Joy. So this is correct, right? Like, it's got a name, which means that it would be red.
Yep, exactly.
Okay,
that's something.
Cool.
And that way, you know, we don't have ARIA. That way, we don't have ARIA label and title, which would be duplicates, and then you hear both read aloud in a screen reader. It's like if you can just use one. For this case, I think it works fine.
Cool. Well, Marcy, I feel like this might be a good place to break, unless you've got anything you wanted to cover before we wrap up.
No, I don't think so. I guess we could point people to. I don't think my blog post went out yet. There will be a blog post about accessibility in Gatsby. I'll probably publish it today. But if people want to learn more about accessibility, we could point them to, I've got a page of resources on my website until this new blog post goes out, marcysutton.com/web-accessibility-resources. I get asked a question a lot of like, hey, what should I learn? And I've got a bunch of stuff on here, like the A11Y project. There's a course from Udacity and the Chrome team. They are the ones that made a lot of those DevTools things, so you can learn from them. There's books on here, and I update it from time to time. There's a web accessibility Slack. Like, for those of you who are still watching, if you want more of this accessibility chatter all the time, you could get in touch with me, and I can invite you to the Web Alley Slack. It is now invite only, but we're doing that for like just to keep it safe in there, but I can definitely invite you if you want to come chat with us. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter as well.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so yeah, everybody, please go follow Marcy. She is amazing. When your article goes live, we will link that in the description for the video. We're going to post this video up on YouTube later today, and thank you everybody for joining us today. We are going to get captions done. Yeah. We definitely will. I think I've been letting YouTube do the robo captions, but we should probably take that more seriously. But yeah, so thank you everyone for joining. We will be back next week with another Who is on next week? I should have been way more prepared for this. So the next one that we're going to do is going to be. Oh goodness, it's not even on my thing yet. Okay, check Twitter because I'm going to tweet about this later. I have no idea what's going on.
Jason's
Yeah,
been
but
a very
please.
busy person.
I'm so tired. But so yeah, we will be yes, there will be a live stream next Thursday. I am going to look off screen for my calendar. The next one will be nope, that's today. Who's on? Mike Hardington. We're going to look at the Ionic framework and build some stuff with Ionic and Gatsby, which is going to be super exciting. So everybody, please tune in next Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific, and we will see you then. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks, everyone.